Okay, today I'm going to be sharing the ultimate chocolate Oreo cake recipe. It's made up of super soft and fluffy Oreo chocolate cake layers topped with a delicious Oreo buttercream frosting that isn't overly sweet. It is so good. A quick thank you to the sponsor of today's video, CHOCOLATE. More about them later on in this video. So to start off, you want to preheat your oven to 150°C or 300°F with the fan turned on, also known as convection mode, and grease or line 2 8-inch cake tins. As always, I'm using my homemade cake release to grease my tins. It works so well and my cakes come out perfectly every time. Okay, now you just want to set your cake tins aside, and next we're going to roughly chop up 14 Oreos. So you don't want these to be too small or too big, so a few cuts into each Oreo should do the trick. Once you're done, your Oreos should look similar to this in size, and then you just want to set them aside for now, and next we're going to sift together our dry ingredients. So I've got 330 grams or 2.5 cups of plain all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of salt. Give that a good mix with a whisk and then set aside for now. The base chocolate cake recipe I'm using today is actually my eggless chocolate cake recipe. It's one of my favorite chocolate cakes to date and it works perfectly with the Oreos. Okay, now you just want to set your dry ingredients aside for now, and next in a large bowl combine 185 grams or 3/4 of a cup of full-fat Greek yogurt, just make sure it's at room temperature, 400 grams or 2 cups of white granulated sugar, 1 1/4 tablespoons of vanilla, and half a teaspoon of baking soda. And then using a whisk, you just want to give that a good mix and then set it aside for now. By mixing the baking soda and yogurt together, the acid in the yogurt is going to help activate the baking soda. And the baking soda is also going to help neutralize the taste of the yogurt so that you can't taste it once the cake is baked. Next, in a microwave-safe bowl or jug, combine 113 grams or half a cup of unsalted butter. I do recommend cutting the butter into smaller cubes, otherwise it just takes forever to melt. And then you're also going to add in 130 grams or 2/3 cups of unflavoured vegetable oil. I use canola oil, 360 grams or 1.5 cups of full-fat milk, and 2 teaspoons of instant coffee powder. Give that a good mix and then heat in the microwave until everything is fully melted and the mixture is hot to the touch. You can do this over a stovetop too if you prefer. Now once everything is nicely melted and mixed together, then to the hot mixture we're going to add in 77 grams or 3/4 of a cup of cocoa powder. And what this is going to do is bloom our cocoa powder and help release more of the flavor from it. I would recommend using a Dutch processed cocoa powder if you can. It just gives you a deeper chocolate flavor and color to your cake. Okay, now it is finally time to bring everything together. So grab your yogurt mixture from earlier. It should be slightly frothy by now from the baking soda being activated. And to it, add in half of your hot milk mixture, and then using a whisk, just mix that together until it's well combined. Next, add in half of your pre-mixed dry ingredients from earlier, and again mix that with a whisk until it's just combined. Be careful not to over-mix it once you've added the flour in, and then add in the remaining hot milk mixture and mix until just combined, and then finish off by adding in the remaining dry ingredients and again mix until it's just combined. You don't want to overmix the batter, so just mix until you can't see any more streaks of flour and the batter is the same consistency throughout. Now to finish off the batter, we're just going to add in our roughly chopped Oreos from earlier and fold that in with a spatula until it's evenly distributed in the batter. Again, avoid overmixing, otherwise you're going to develop too much gluten in your batter and it's going to give you a tough cake. So that is our batter all done. It smells so incredibly good, and now you just want to evenly distribute it into our 2 pre-prepared cake tins. Once that's done, give the cake tins a light bang on the counter to remove any large air bubbles, and now these are going to go into the oven for 45 minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean. So my cakes are all done now. They've been cooling in the cake tins for about 20 minutes, and now I'm just running a thin knife around the edges to release the cakes from the cake tins and turning them out onto a wire rack to completely cool. These cake layers are honestly so incredibly soft. You guys are going to absolutely love them. Now while these cakes are cooling, we're going to go ahead and make a super easy Oreo buttercream. So I'm going to start off by adding 14 Oreos to a food processor and blending that until the Oreos are super fine. They should look like this when they're done. Now just set your crushed Oreos aside for now, and the next step I'm going to be doing in my stand mixer. Now you can totally do this next step with a hand mixer too, but this frosting does require a little bit of mixing, and so I'm taking the easy route. So to my stand mixer, I'm adding in 340 grams or 1.5 cups of room temperature unsalted butter, 350 grams or 2 3/4 cup of icing sugar, also known as powdered or confectioner's sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, and 1.5 tablespoons of milk. And then using my paddle attachment, I'm first mixing everything together on the lower speed, just so that my icing sugar doesn't go everywhere. And then once things are kind of mixed together, I'm turning up the speed to a medium-high and letting this mix for a full 10 minutes, scraping down the bowl about halfway just to make sure everything's mixing well. By letting this mix, it's going to lighten up your buttercream in both taste and texture and help get rid of some of that grittiness that American buttercream usually has. Now once that's done, the last step is to add in our crushed Oreos and just mix that on a medium speed until it's well combined. Okay, and that is it. Our super easy, not too sweet Oreo buttercream is all done, and it has the most gorgeous smooth texture to it. So my cakes are all cooled down now and we are ready to start stacking. Now before we start decorating, I just wanted to quickly talk to you about today's sponsor, CHOCOLATE, because I'll be using their cake decorating equipment today to assemble our cake. CHOCOLATE is an affordable cake decorating supplier, and they sell a whole bunch of great quality cake baking and decorating equipment. And today I'll be using their 35-piece cake decorating kit to assemble today's cake so that you can see for yourself just how well their products work. You can find this kit on Amazon, and I'll be sure to post a link to it below. Now to start off, I'm going to level the tops of my cake layers so that they're nice and flat and easier to stack. And to help me with this, I'm going to be using CHOCOLATE's aluminium alloy turntable. This is one of my favorite CHOCOLATE products, which I actually linked on my Amazon storefront months ago before CHOCOLATE even reached out to me. The quality of this turntable is incredible. It turns so smoothly, and an important feature I want to mention is the non-slip surface and rubber feet, which just makes cake decorating so much easier because you know your cake isn't going to go anywhere. So once the cakes are leveled, we can start stacking. So today I'm going to be decorating my cake onto a cake board, but you can go ahead and decorate it straight onto your cake stand or serving platter. So I'm starting off by placing a little Oreo frosting onto my cake board and then placing my first cake layer on top. And this will just help prevent the cake from moving around, especially if you're transporting it. Next, I'm placing a generous amount of the frosting on top and spreading it out with CHOCOLATE's offset spatula that comes in the 35-piece kit. I love using an offset spatula for spreading out frosting, and this one from CHOCOLATE just works great. Now before my next cake layer goes on top, I'm just crushing a total of 3 Oreos in my hands and just sprinkling them on top of my buttercream, and this is just going to add great texture to our cake. Then my next cake layer goes on top, and again I'm just spreading out a generous amount of the frosting on the top of the cake and covering the sides as well. Once the cake is fully coated, I'm then using CHOCOLATE's straight edge decorating comb to smooth out the sides of the cake. They have 3 different decorating combs in their 35-piece kit with so many different designs, and I absolutely love that the cake combs are metal, which makes them so much more durable and stable than plastic ones. Once that's done, I'm again using CHOCOLATE's offset spatula to bring that top lip of frosting into the middle of the cake to give me some nice smooth edges. Now next I'm going to be doing some piping. So in CHOCOLATE's 35-piece kit, you get 24 different piping tips, so you can honestly go wild with decorating. And you also get 2 silicone pastry bags, which means that they're reusable. How awesome is that? So I'm going to be using CHOCOLATE's K45 piping tip with the silicone piping bag to pipe some swirls on the top of my cake. Okay, now we are almost there, so to finish off decorating, I'm going to blend another 4 Oreos until they're really fine, and then I'm going to use those Oreo crumbs to decorate the bottom half of my cake and roughly stick the crumbs to the buttercream. You can leave it kind of messy on the bottom if you like, but I like to clean it up a little and get rid of those excess crumbs on the bottom. And then the last step is to place some whole Oreos on the top of the cake. I usually use around kind of 10 to 13 Oreos on the top, depending on how many swirls I have. And then that is it. My chocolate Oreo cake is all done. This cake is honestly so incredibly moist and soft. It has such a tender crumb to it and has a really nice chocolate and cookies and cream flavor coming through. The cake layers are so incredibly soft, and that Oreo buttercream is so super fluffy. And I really love those extra Oreos in between the cake layers. It adds great texture to the cake. So that is it for today, guys. If you do decide to give this Oreo cake a go, then please do leave a review on my blog. It really helps my content out, and I absolutely love hearing from you guys. Also, don't forget to check out Kutek's cake decorating supplies. I'll post a link below to their 35-piece cake decorating set. I'll see you in the next video.